Hi everybody, welcome back, or hello if you're new, I'm Feb. So a while ago I made a purchase from the Lonely Broomstick shop, and amongst other things I picked up a make your own leaping toadstools kit. I did a video on that, making them, and I am so happy with them. They're actually behind me on the shelf. But recently I picked up another order from them. I'm obsessed with that shop. So this time it's make your own mandrakes. So here's the kit, and I'll open it up and show you what's inside. It has the instructions upside down. There you go. Right on the top. And there they are. We also have this lovely green packaging. And if we flip that up, then inside we've got all sorts of goodies. So first of all, we have a paintbrush, and then some paints, various different shades of brown, handy. The darlingest little labels you've ever seen in your entire life. They're super small. I will show you them close up in a bit. They've actually put 3 in there, but there are only 2 pots. And look, how small are these? These are probably about 1 inch across. So you could make 2 if you wanted to. I think I'm only going to make 1 mandrake because I'd like to keep the other pot to make Mimbulus Mimbletonia plant, which I'll do for another video. And then we have some mandrake leaves, although they look exactly like ivy leaves to me. I may or may not use those. And we have air drying clay. I did actually finish off all of the stuff finally from the make your own toadstools, so this is good to have. This one feels quite stiff, so I hope it's all right. We'll see. And then a bit of moss for decorating the top of the pots. All right, let's get it all set out and get started. Okay, so here it all is set out on my tray. I have dispensed with one of the pots to save for a later video, and so I'm just going to keep one of these labels handy, although I think it might be a while before I actually need to use it because we've got to make the mandrake first, and that's going to be a task. I have no idea what I'm doing. I do have something that I can copy though. I have a very nice posh mandrake from the Noble collection that I will show you here. But I also have this little dude who came from Temu, and I really like him. He sits on a mushroom, and his leaves are much nicer, don't you think, than the ivy? I think so anyway. So I found something else to substitute for the ivy leaves, and here they are. I think they're kind of cute. And I think they'll do very nicely. So, all right then, I'm going to use this guy just to look at as I attempt to make something similar. We'll see. Okay. Let's get everything out of the way and have a go at this clay. So the instructions say, fill the terracotta pots firmly with kitchen foil, press down to make a stable base. So that's the same as for the leaping toadstools. Leave a gap inside, use a little clay to cover the foil and make an even layer. All right, so to make your mandrake, roll 2 balls of clay, a large one for the body, a small one for the head. How you shape your mandrake's entirely up to you, but they're meant to be ugly but cute. Squish both balls together like a snowman and start forming your mandrake, indenting it where you want the mouth and eyes. Blah, blah, blah. All right, well, let's start with that. Okay, the clay was actually marked, so I've taken off half and I'll be using just one and wrapping the other stuff back up again. This clay is much more stiff than the previous one that we had for the leaping toadstools, but I think I'll be able to work with it, although my knuckles just, oh my god, this is really stiff. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I will be able to use this. Is there any way to reconstitute this stuff to make it go soft again? I don't know. All right, BRB, I'm going to get some water. Okay, after struggling womanfully with that clay, it was simply impossible for me to do anything with it. I tried to dampen it and make it a little bit more malleable, but honestly, I just didn't have the strength in my fingers. I don't think anyone would have. It was just too dry to be able to do anything with. So I have, luckily, this one, which I got off of Amazon a while ago. So I'm just going to use this in its stead. And what a pity. Oh, this is, see the difference? Look at that. That is nice and squishy, exactly as it should be. All right then, maybe the other one was just left too near the fire or whatever. Okay, that should be plenty, I reckon. It is the world's smallest pot, and I need to remember that and not make it something, you know, too giant. Okay. I think that'll do. I do actually have some tools which I purchased from Amazon not that long ago. And these are interesting. They were dead cheap, but they come with all sorts of little gadgets in it. I'm going to leave the top kind of freaky, almost like a little dent in the top, so that I can push the leaves down into it. So hopefully they dry in there. Okay, he's looking quite ugly. Let's make some facial features. I've decided that that's going to be the front, and obviously I need to make some arms. So it then says, roll 5 sausages with the remainder of the clay for the arms and 3 for the branches on the head where the foliage will be sticking out of it. Put everything together, smoothing and making sure everything is stuck together. Use the pointy end of the paintbrush to make a few holes in the head roots or where you want your foliage to stick out, and leave it to dry for 24 to 48 hours. All right then. Okay. I will now proceed to faff. Okay, that's the basic face. Oh my god, poor ugly little creature. All right, let's do some arms. Trying to make them kind of look like little branches, you know? Okay, all right then. I think these arms might be a bit long. Might have to do something about that. They're also not at all in the same kind of position, but they'll do, I reckon. Put a couple of score marks in this, I think, just to make it look a bit more textured. Okay, that looks all right. They do look quite tree-like actually in close up. It's not too bad. And I will just smooth back of his armpits. Don't want these to fall off. I could use cocktail sticks, I suppose, to help, but I don't think they're really needed. Okay. All right then, I will leave him like this. Oh, he's so ugly. For the moment. And just add a few more little tiny thin bits. This could be a mistake, but we'll try it anyway. You never know. I imagine that these are going to be so thin they'll just fall off, but worth trying. I can see that if this does remain in one piece, then I'm going to have to be super careful about how I maneuver this thing, you know? Okay, let's just roll out a really long one. All right. Do I want more than that? I don't know, because I'm kind of feeling like I might paint the end of his hands a little bit green. We'll see. I love doing this kind of thing, don't you? Such a pity that we couldn't use the original clay that came with it. But not the end of the world. You never know when you might need air drying clay. It's always good to have some in stock. All right then, that's a nice thin one as well. kind of want them to look more like roots than hands, but they're looking a bit more like hands right now. Never mind. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave this in whatever little sunshine we get here in England today. The weather's been absolutely pants for the last week. And I'll be back in about 24 to 48 hours. Welcome back, it's day 2, and so now it's time to fill the pot and paint my Mandrake. So let me show you what we've ended up with so far. Okay, here he is, the miserable looking little thing. I did move his sort of rooty bits out because when it comes time to pop him in the pot, I wanted to be able to make sure that I could squeeze it in there without too much trouble. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
His hand just fell off. Okay, fine. Well, I always knew that was a possibility, so I'm gonna glue that on rather than use more clay. A, it'll dry quicker, and B, probably has more chance of sticking, so let me sort that out. All right, that's better. I've glued him back together again. So next thing to do is to fill this pot as per the instructions with some of this Bako foil or whatever you want to call it. It's a reasonable sized piece. I've left a bit of a gap at the top as recommended, and then we need to cover this with clay. Okay, I have pulled off a little round lump, and then having learned my lesson from last time, I'm going to use a roller, in this case a glass jar, whatever you've got. If you happen to have a mini roller, then by all means use that. I don't, so yeah, I'm just going to use this. This will actually be for another potion for gillyweed when I get around to it, to add to my potion shelf. So that's nice and flat. And then I'm just going to pop this in here. I'm not going to worry about gaps around the edges because, frankly, it's just going to be covered in moss if there is any gaps, and I doubt very much whether there'll be much. Okay, that's fine. No problem. All right, then I shall just leave that to do its thing. And now it's time to paint this little beauty. So I put gloves on because I am the messiest person in the entire world. And I'm going to start with the darkest one of the browns. There's 2 browns and a black in the middle. So I'm just going to put a light layer of this over the whole of my little beastie. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so he's looking very dark, very boring right now. So it's time to add a different colour paint. And I've got this lighter brown one that they've provided. So we're going to use that, first of all, on his little rooty handy bits. Oh my goodness, this is so wobbly, I can't even tell you. I should probably have reinforced them somehow. Maybe wire would have been the answer. We live and learn. If you're going through this as well, if you decide to make these, then I would suggest using a bit of wire just to, you know, help yourself out, really. Okay, that's okay. I'm also not going to leave him matte. He's still a bit damp in places at the moment. So when he's completely dry, I'll do the same as I did with the toadstools and add a bit of a satin gloss to him to finish him off. It also makes them easier to clean as well if they're not entirely matte. I'm just blending in a little bit where the roots meet the arms of the mandrake, for want of a better word. All right, I will leave that to dry, and then assess what needs doing next. Okay, time for the second layer. I'm going to use a sponge this time instead of the brush, and I'm just going to dampen it a little bit first in the water, just to kind of disperse the paint a little bit so that it's not quite so, you know, thick. All right, that's much better. He's now looking very Mandrake-like. So again, I'm going to leave it to dry, and I'm just going to paint dark brown into this top part where his hair, his leaves are going to come out. Okay, that'll do. At the moment, he's looking positively demonic with his white eyes. So I'm just going to use a touch of this black, and I'm just going to get a smaller brush, and I'm just going to do his eyes and his mouth. All right, the next thing to do, I've got this. It's a satin varnish, and I'm just going to put a layer of that over the whole of my little chap. Okay, he is covered in his satin varnish and dried pretty much, so it's time to add his leaves. So what I'm going to do with those is I already made sort of drilled holes with these things, so I'm just going to glue them in. Okay, I will leave that to dry, and in the meantime I'm going to add a little bit of moss around the inside of the pot here, and as you can see I've already put the label on, so we're nearly done. Okay, here he is in all his glory. I've got glue all over my fingernails. It always takes my nail varnish off. And here he is, beautiful little thing. So time to add him to his pot. I've put a ring of moss around it, labels on, and I'm just going to glue them. Had I thought on beforehand, I could have put a, what do you call it, cocktail stick in here, but it's too late now. So I'm just going to glue him in, and I will show you the finished product. Tell you, my mouse mat is never going to be the same again. Okay, so here he is, finally finished. Put him on my herbology shelf. I seem to have 2 herbology shelves going at the moment, actually. So I'll see where he fits in best and call that the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do let me know if you've made one of these little doos before. Obviously, you don't need to buy the kit. The label is super nice though, I must say. It's really lovely, and I like the option that I can make another one if I want to. It's a pity that at the end of the day the clay didn't work for me. It was just too hard and too dry and too old probably, but it is very inexpensive to buy, so, and luckily I had some. All right, that's it. Take care and stay safe, everybody.